Well, I have relieved the babysitter. Amy is home now, and I'm going to finish up my list. As I said, we ended with Coupe de Ville. I myself was very vocal, as I said, just to reiterate, I was very vocal when we looked at this filly at the farm and then at the sale. She may get to her knees, but quite frankly, everybody, you never know, right? Lawmakers stood off a little bit. Lots of horses stand off a little bit. Trotters is not as big a deal as in Pacers. And quite frankly, it really came down to value, right? And for what we paid for the filly, I could overlook it. When we first broke her, I was worried she might get into her knees. And we made the choice very early to put some aggressive shoeing on her. I wanted her to get used to her shoes if it helped. And also, you'll remember me tell you that from time to time, you really have to, you don't know, right? You think something might help and it doesn't. Maybe you want to, it's trial and error. And it was just the first time. She was awesome. So she has been fantastic, right? And just, you can tell too, because she's a taller filly that was kind of thin and lanky, and now she's starting to put on weight and she feels good on the track. Just looks awesome out there. Very happy with her. So we'll go to Crantini. This, I think, if you ask James, this is his favorite horse. This is going to be one of our biggest horses at 2. And man, he just looks beautiful. He has, you know, it's funny, and James was the one that reminded me of this. So his mother, get this straight, his mother is a sister to a horse that I loved. Way back in 2007, 2008, James and I had a number of racehorses, and we had a horse, oddly enough, that we had bought off Jimmy Tactor at a public auction. Horse had like 300 made, I think. His name was Cordial Martini. I love this horse, but he would, if you went out to jog him and you weren't paying attention, he'd root his head and he'd pull the lines and he pulled them out of the hands of a couple of people and almost got loose a couple of times, because you'd be jogging along holding the lines lackadaisical, and all of a sudden he'd root his head and boom, there goes the lines, they're gone. And a couple of times he near got away on people, and James had reminded me of it. And now his brother, this guy's brother, Macho Martini, Bob McClure, had said the same thing to James. He'd be going along and just root his head and just stupid stuff with his mouth. So I had said to James, well, he's a second generation rooter, so we're going to nip this in the bud right now. So he wears a brain cord, which is a cord that goes around their head, over their nose, and it's clothesline wire. So it fits behind their ears, and it goes down here, and it goes over their nose and hooks underneath a martingale. And it's tight, and they can't really, if they root, it gives them a little jolt over the bridge of their nose, and, you know, from the sheer force, it's not like a string or a rope or nylon. This is clothesline cable. So it's fairly firm. There's no breaking it, so you can be sure of that. So we let his head down a little bit, and we put the thing snug enough that there's room, right? No room to be ignorant. Room to, you know, jostle if you have to jostle. Tell you a horse that used to do that bad was White Tiger when he was 2. Many of you remember, I schooled White Tiger's second lifetime start. If you go back and watch his first start, he jogs. He's in to go his second start at Mohawk again. I'm just setting third, 3 lengths back. We're going a half in like 59. And he throws his head and runs. And he would do that at 2. You had to watch him. And I remember an old horseman, Per Hendrickson. Many of you remember Per. Great horseman. Nice man. He saw him do it. And he said, son, he said, you know, Anthony, I saw that. I used to have a horse do that. And he said, I had rigged up a head halter, so the racing halter, and on the nose band of the bridle, I had these chains, and they would just kind of keep his attention, right? I'm like, oh, I never thought of that. Because Tiger wore like a tight martingale all the time. And even to this day would wear a tight martingale. But he hasn't done that often. He's grown now, but he's 6. So Per kept saying, I'll bring it in. I said, I went and I bought 5 chin chains. So the chains, for those of you who know anything about harness, there's just these little chains that go under the chin. So most horses, very common over check apparatus would be a check bit. That is a little bit that goes in their mouth, a straight bit in their mouth, a leather chin strap, or a chain instead of a leather chin strap, just a little chain. So I bought 5 of those chains, and I zip-tied them on his noseband. So if you watch, we have a photo somewhere if you look on Facebook, and he was 2-year-old races. If you look at his photos, you see these chains, and they're right there over his nose, and they just flap the whole time. And he didn't do it. He didn't do it after that. So I don't know what we're going to do with Crantini. For right now, he's under control. He does his work well. And James says when he's trotting fast, he doesn't do it. Most horses, as you can imagine, when they're bored, when they're in the middle of the pack, they're not accelerating, they're not moving forward, they're looking around, and this guy, throws his head. So that's going to be something we have to work on. I don't know that we're going to be able to completely cure it, but man, he's a beautiful trotter, and he can fly. I haven't been giving you guys updates on times. Absolute Euphoria, 242, Always Charming, 246-ish. Anchors Up, I went in 239 with today, 238, 239. Austral Hanover's been around 47, same thing. Captain in the Air, same thing, 44, 45-ish. Carter Michael Dio's been in 241. Cash Deals has been around 245, I think. Chocolate for Lunch was in 243. Columbus was in 244. Coupe de Ville, she's been around 241 and looked good doing it. Now, Crantini, same thing, around 241, 242. Cunning Connie. So, Cunning Connie has been push button. Awesome. Since day one. She got sick. Then we had some splints crowd up front. 2 splints. Both splints crowd up front. Amy went with her yesterday, and she just was out of sorts. She didn't seem comfortable at all. Now, the left splint could have been bothering her. We had a Murphy blind on the outside of her. Now that we had them cryoed, she's on the right line. Now, that Murphy blind would actually cause her to get on the line even more, which she did. Amy said she was on the right line hard. I couldn't drive her. She did her work, but she didn't look that good. Went a mile in like 2:53. I said, okay, she didn't do it good today. She's going again tomorrow. So I went out the door today. We had the Murphy blind on the inside. Line pole on the inside. Put a jawbreaker on her. I went out and trained her 4 even quarters in 40, the last one in 39 actually. A mile in 2:39, and she felt like a 6-year-old trotter. Just got the most easygoing gait. Like she just floats. Like she almost put you to sleep. Just a beautiful filly to watch and nice to sit behind. Cunning Connie was awesome today. I know that Mary and Jerry were sitting at the fence and they saw her go yesterday and then saw her go today. Mary won't do a video for us now. She refuses to. But they see everything. And that's the thing is that, I'm well aware that people are there, right? There's eyes on us all the time. And Mary and Jerry could probably testify. The last 3-4 years they've been there every day almost. They can tell you exactly how the horses transform and how they do it at different times and how they look better and worse. And then all of a sudden some of them come forward and some of them falter. It's really something to watch. You guys get to see it. You get to hear about it for sure every week, but you get to see it every 2-3 weeks. And for me, who sees it every day, it's kind of lost on me a little bit. But it's very interesting, and to see a horse look so mediocre yesterday and then look so awesome today, it must have looked cool from the outside, and they know very well who was training, but it definitely looked awesome from my standpoint. Just a beautiful filly. Cutie Cumber was sick, just temperature a little bit. Of all the horses that I would call sick this week, she had the most minimal amount. But as I told you guys the other day, whatever went through the barn the last time was not the same. The horses were spiking temperatures, literally looked sick, and that was the first time it was like that. So I told everybody that last bug that went through, anybody we felt had that bug did not move. I want them started on antibiotics immediately, started on bronchial dilators, and do not move the horses, and that's exactly what we did. Cunning Connie responded well. She's been jogging, but did not train this week. Cutie Cumber. I get those two mixed up. Cutie Cumber. But make no mistake, Cutie Cumber's a monster. Again, so I'm falling a bit behind again. Crantini, 241. Cunning Connie, 239 today. And then Cutie Cumber's been in 241, 240. Depend on it. He's figured it out. He's doing his work best he can. Very pleased with what I see from this horse. He's got a long way to go still. I trained him in 249 yesterday. I was happy with him. I like the fact that he was abysmal, and then he was a bit better. Now he's sharp on the track. Now he wants to do his work. Now it's just a matter of, okay, how good are you? And he's not going to tell us now, but I want to see him catch up to the group and be an active member of the training sets rather than just a present body. So that's where I would depend on it. I'm happy. He's got a ton of work to do to be, one of the top 10 horses for sure, and it may never get there. But I need him to start doing his work better. I'm happy with the progression but I need to see him continue to do it. Dream and a Credit, almost the identical horse. I expect more. I want to see more. Now, I apologize. One thing I didn't realize about this horse, he's ridgeling. I didn't know that. So, February 6th, he's going to have his testicles out. He has to go up to the university and get them operated on to get them to do it. But he needs them out, and he'll get them out. Not a big deal. We'll train him until then. Danny was happy with him the other day. But again, very green, and that being a little stud, only compounds that. Looking around, squealing, acting up, not doing his work. So that'll be fixed on February 6th. But until then, he'll continue to work forward. Both him and Depend On It have been around 249, 250. Enzo Aguelo. So I'm going to give you guys a little tip. I looked the other day. 3 of our best horses in their barn are Father Patrick's. That is why I ultimately decided to breed Path of Totality to Father Patrick. We might breed another horse to Father Patrick because I ended up getting a discounted breeding. When you look at Pennsylvania, everybody's like, oh, Green Shoe, Green Shoe, Green Shoe. Okay, but Green Shoe's by Father Patrick, in case you're wondering. Green Shoe's 25 or 30. 25, I think. Father Patrick, I got one for 9. Then was offered another one for $8,500. So I think we're going to breed one. I don't know who the other mare is we're going to breed to him. We might breed another mare to him. There might be 2. Now, the thing I got to be careful about Father Patrick is the big ones, like all the ones that are good sized, are good. But there are some runts too, right? There's lots of bad Father Patricks out there. And I think that's why people are cool sometimes is that, everybody wants the Muscle Hill, right? From a decade ago. Everybody wants the best looking horse. And Father Patrick will throw runts. Also, will throw bad horse. But so will every sire. Every sire will. So I think, I don't know who the other mare is, but Father Patrick will be bred to Path of Totality. I guess I can tell you why. Green Shoe is a Father Patrick out of a Donato Hanover mare. We have a really fast Donato Hanover mare that had a great work ethic. Lots of speed, lots to offer. Had some issues with her knees, but a beautiful, beautiful filly in Path of Totality. Yeah, we're going to go to Father Patrick. Where was I at here? I get off topic. Oh, Enzo Aguelo. He's a Father Patrick. So I'll put it to you this way. And this is how I told Jimmy yesterday. We were talking about him. Enzo has been the most surprising horse to me. I thought Enzo would turn out to be like... who's that guy we had last year? I said the horse's name last year. I can't believe I forgot his name. I think it started there. Nope. Just give me 1 second. Wasn't he a B? A Mordiner. So a Mordiner was a nice colt, winning 57. It wasn't a sire stake horse, but just kind of a nice middle-of-the-road meat and potatoes horse. That's what I thought Enzo would turn into. He's a Father Patrick. In the past, we had some that were a little cranky. Would we have to castrate him? What would he be like? He made a couple of breaks without the hobbles on, so we put the hobbles on him, and it was just like a switch was flipped. He went from being present to being dominant overnight. And everybody knows the story behind this guy. I only bought him because Steve and Jeff were about to get pinched on him. I thought they were going to get he was going to be grossly undersold, and he still was, in my estimation. I thought he was a $30,000 colt that they could probably get 40 for, and instead they almost got 8 for him, and we bought him for 17. And Enzo looked okay, but now he doesn't do a thing wrong. I don't remember in recent memory. Now, James might have a better recollection. I don't know. I don't remember one horse we ever trained that did everything right. Lawmaker was always nice. Cruising in Style, they were always nice horses. White Tiger had tons of speed. Everybody knew that. We always had nice horses, but they had their flaws. They always had a little bit of a flaw. I don't think this guy does. Sit in the hole, he's got his ears up, follow right on a helmet, not get excited. You move him over, it's almost like you just say, okay, what do you want me to do? You want me to go fast now? Okay. Zoom! He can go as fast as a car, and then you just stop him. I blew by everybody down the back stretch with him. No, down the back, so in front of the barn area with him finishing up the other day. And, we were going to go lots, so I just snugged him up around the last turn. He's got his ears up. You can hear the horses coming. He's starting to get a little racy. And the horses that were coming were Merchant Man and we good horses coming to him. And I just left them right up beside me, come out of the turn, gone again. And he drove away from virtually the best horses we have in the barn. So Enzo has been fantastic. He solidified the breeding of Father Patrick. I might curse him later on in the year, but Enzo right now is the reason. Enzo and Merchant Man, Sister Solange, those are the reasons that we are going to Father Patrick with Path of Totality, and one other mare that I don't know yet. So super pumped about Enzo, couldn't be happier. Fashion Presidente continues to do his work well. Really happy with this colt. And Danny says he doesn't need to be gelded right now. He might be on the list later on, but for now, just a really nice horse to do any work with. 5 fish species. I didn't get a... Oh! She had a couple of splints crowd. She couldn't train yesterday. She snuck by me. She should have trained today, though, and I my bad. I dropped the ball. Oh, fishy. You're going to go Wednesday with the hobbles on and then back Saturday. I think, again, her knee's a little offset, but if her knees weren't offset, I don't think we could have purchased her, first off. Secondly, aside, if you step away from those offset knees a little bit, she's a better looking version of Bomb Hugger, full sister, and looks better. Bigger build, a little bit longer, got a snappier gait to her. I think, again, if you don't stare at her knees, and they're not horrible because she hits the ground beautifully, I don't think they'll ever bother her. But if you don't look at her knees, if you just looked at her on the track, she's a better version of Bomb Hugger. Now, we haven't put the hobbles on her, and Bomb Hugger had them on weeks before now when she was young. And I think this filly's she's gonna really like them too. I really like 5 fish species. And again, I got away from training miles. Dreaming of Credit, told you 249. Enzo's been in 238 and looks awesome. 238. Fashion Presidente around 244, I think, and has looked good. 5 fish species. Made some breaks. I think she's been around 52, but I think you're going to see her go around 38 or 40 next Saturday. Full Heart made a little break yesterday. Johnny said she just got a little lost, and when Danny roared, maybe she run on. I don't know. She came right back trotting and won the set quite easily, but this is a filly that, as of right now, we have some very strong looking Ohio breds led by the fillies, but the colts are closing in. 1, 2 in particular, one and very much in particular that caught me off guard today that looked great. But Full Heart, just a fantastic looking filly, A+ across the board. I think she's been in 239, 240. Gandalf the Black's been in 47, 46. He looks good sometimes, made a couple of little breaks in weird places. But I was happy with him yesterday. Got to watch him in the middle of the straightaways. Usually when you got to watch him in the middle of the straightaways, it's a combination or one or two of one or two things. 1, a little bit sore. I don't see any soreness there. 2, cross-firing. I don't hear him cross-firing. Is he getting a little close? I don't know. But he looked good the other day and won his mile very well. Mile in 246, 247. GJ's ATM, James said, this is a really nice colt, especially for Illinois. That's not, again, you don't mean to sound negative when it comes to Illinois, but more of a jurisdictional staking program right now, right? And to have a horse that can train with our best horses that is going to a smaller pond is a good feeling. GJ's ATM can train with anybody in the barn. He's been around 242, 243. James really likes him, and he looks flashy. Him and Rosita's Dream looks really good. The little white-faced guy, we'll talk about him in a minute. We castrated him. He needed to be castrated. Giant G beside his name. But GJ's ATM looks very, very good right now. Very impressed with him. High Enterprise looks awesome. She looked good again yesterday for Amy. Amy said she's on the left line a bit. I said she's probably touching a little bit. And that's the thing is people get lulled into this sense of, well, she's got to be lame somewhere. If she was sore enough to start biting the line really hard, you would see it. You would see what I see as a horse that maybe is touching that left hind a little bit. And every time she touches it, stings her a bit, she bites in that line. Then once you got grabbing that line, she doesn't really let go. You got to shake them off it sometimes. The Murphy blind on the outside, maybe not exactly what she needs. I told her, maybe go to something like a bit burr. We use a lot of bit burrs. People don't use them that much anymore. We do. Bit burr on the outside and a line pull on the outside. I think you'll find her a lot more amenable to the steering. But she was awesome yesterday. Training very good. Very like this filly a lot. She's been around 242, 241. Hill Street Blue is back good now. He had hit himself and got a little infection in his leg. We gave him a few days off. He was fine. He trained good yesterday. Big, strong colt. I think you're going to see him do his best work probably later in February when we finally put the hobbles on him and let him trot forward. I think you're going to see a nice colt. Right now, he's just doing his work well. Kind of flying under the radar. I've been around 245, 246. Horn player, better every week. Every week. She was good again yesterday. Running in a little bit. You know, she's funny. I got her, if she runs out a little bit more than she needs to, a little more off center, she'll roll off. If she runs in, she'll roll off. We got a line pole outside. I'm going to put a head pole on the inside of her this week. And I think she'll be perfect. I don't want to put hobbles on her just yet. She's got a real strong, fluid gait when she's trotting. It's a big filly on a small track, too. You got to keep that in mind. And I do. When it comes to this filly, I really like Horn Player, and I think she got a bright future for us. Lady All-Star overpowered everybody again this week. Ooh, the force is strong in that one, too. There's nothing to geld on her. So, it's just constant work. Constant work with this filly. She'll get it. It'll take time. Very strong. She's been around 238 and easily in 238. Landing pad was 238 today. I don't know if I'm super pumped about his shoeing, but again, I don't want to get into this habit where it's, you know, you see him do something, you change his shoes. You see him do something, you change his shoes. Sometimes he's got to work through it. I'm not changing anything. He's going to work through it, and he did well today. 238 by himself today and looked good. I can see what he's doing. He's touching down low, left hind. You're going to have to push through that, bud. That's just the way it is. I don't think he watches the videos, but if he does, pull up your skirt button. Let's go. He'll be just fine. He's just got to work through, and he will. All these horses go through these hurdles where, you know, and I talk about this when we first break them. You got to push them into the turns. You got to make them. You got to push them. You gotta instill that urgency in them, that sense of work and that good work ethic. And this guy here, I understand. Sometimes they'll make breaks, and once they get in those ruts of making breaks, it's really hard to change them. And this guy was falling into a rut. And today, to be honest, he needed the work. I didn't know if he trot or not. We made some changes on him, equipment changes, and he was awesome. 238 easy today with landing pad. Landing strip, made a little break, got jostled the other day. Very rarely you see this guy run, but he just got a little hot and a little bothered. Now, this horse is one of our best horses, beautifully bred, really nice colt. But he wanted no part of Enzo the other day. I know that, and nobody does right now. Enzo is a little more compact than Landing Strip and Merchant Man. Just maybe a little smaller in stature, a little more compact. So I think that high speed comes to him a little quicker than it'll get to those other horses. But what Enzo might find, and the only reason I'm not worried because he's got such a great attitude and great work ethic, is that these horses will catch up to him at some time. And then what are you going to do? And that's the answer that they all have to answer that question at some point. And I think Enzo's just fine with that, you know, because he'll allow you to put him in good spots, right? He does everything perfect. I don't know that there's another horse in the barn that does everything perfect. A+ is across the board. That's a very, very rare thing. Enzo does it. Everybody else has the odd quirk here and there. Landing strip again, big colt. Just a matter of putting the work into him, and don't get in a rush with him because you don't want to start this guy up. Right? He doesn't need to be started up yet. You heard me talk about this with a smaller filly in Bomb Hugger last year, but this guy's already there. He just doesn't know it. Now we just got to put the work into him. Leaps and Bounds was good again yesterday. Amy's goes with this filly, and it's just beautiful filly. Beautiful. You know, I didn't realize that we had her sister a couple of years ago until it was brought to my attention by one of our clients. So when you go to the sale, it might say from 8 foals, 5 winners. Well, if one of those other 3 didn't win, it's not on the catalog, right? You have to physically look that up and look at the whole catalog. There's 3 people from the Army. That's weird. And when it comes to Leaps and Bounds, Heavenly Skies was her sister. I didn't know that. It doesn't matter. I mean, Leaps and Bounds and Heavenly Skies was just a little smaller, compact, not as big and lanky as this filly, and I think she interfered a lot. This filly doesn't at all. I'm really happy with Leaps and Bounds. Lost Spirit, I talked to the people at home, talked to Brent the other day, and said to him, nothing I love about the colt. He's small. He was really ignorant to break. You know, he can be rude, but at the same